Territory was renamed the Missouri Territory to avoid confusion with the recently admitted state of Louisiana. The U.S. House of Representatives approved 79 to 49 a declaration of war against Britain. In 1919, Congress approved the 19th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution, guaranteeing citizens the right to vote regardless of gender and sent it to the states for ratification. Birthdays. Sex therapist and media personality Dr. Ruth Westheimer is 90 today. Actor Bruce Dern is 82. Musician Roger Ball is 74. Actress-singer Michelle Phillips is 74. Jazz musician Anthony Braxton is 73 today. Actor Keith David is 62. Singer-musician Elle DeBarge is 57. Actress Julie White is 57. Comedian Horatio Sands is 49 today. Actor Noah Weil is 47. Actor-comedian Russell Brand is 43 today. Actress Angelina Jolie is 43. Actor Theo Rossi is 43. Model Bar Raffelli is 33 today. And we have one of our listeners with a birthday today, Terry Jernigan. Happy birthday, Terry.
Daybreak. Need to know. Volunteers needed. Southeastern Health's Compassion for You Congregational Wellness Network is seeking volunteers to help with a free over-the-counter medicine giveaway at Chestnut Street United Methodist Church on 200 West 8th Street in Lumberton. Volunteers are needed over 2 days with varying shift options. Duties include unloading supplies on June 28th and distributing medicine on June 29th. Anyone interested in volunteering should go to medassist.org/volunteer and choose the Robinson event. Volunteers who are 12 to 17 years of age will need a parent or guardian present. Tutors needed. Fayetteville Urban Ministry needs volunteer tutors for the Adult Literacy Center. Training sessions are once a month. The next training session is Friday from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Pre-registration is required. Email Carol Ann Murray at cmurray, C-M-U-R-R-A-Y, at FAYURBMIN.org or call Fayetteville Urban Ministry at 483-5944. Screen on the Green and Food Truck Rodeo. Movie series sponsored by the Spring Lake Recreation and Parks Department kicks off Friday with Black Panther. All movies are free and open to the public. The event is at Mendoza Park from 6 to 10 p.m. Bring lawn chairs and blankets. There will be food trucks on site. The park is at 1770 Little River Road. Lumbee Homecoming. The 50th annual Lumbee Homecoming kicks off June 29th and continues through July 7th. Highlights include the State of the Tribe address on July 6th and the parade on July 7th in Pembroke. The parade starts at 10 a.m. A powwow is scheduled for noon on July 7th at the Quad on the campus of the University of North Carolina at Pembroke. A complete schedule of events is available at lumbeehomecoming.com. We want to hear from you. Please submit your events in writing at least 10 days in advance. Email calendar at fayobserver.com or fax complete details to 486-3545. For questions, call 486-3500.
Solo falls 65% in second weekend. Solo, a Star Wars story, is losing momentum quickly at the box office. Even with a relatively quiet weekend, free of any new blockbuster competition, after an underwhelming launch, the space saga fell 65% in weekend 2 with $29.3 million from North American theaters, according to studio estimates on Sunday. Solo has now earned $148.9 million domestically, which is still shy of Rogue One's December 2016 opening weekend of $155.1 million and over $135 million short of where Rogue One was in its second weekend. The 65% drop-off is one of the highest in recent Star Wars history, although it is less steep than the second week fall of the franchise's last film, Star Wars The Last Jedi, which slid 67.5% in weekend 2 this past December. But that was also after a $220 million debut. Internationally, Solo added $30.3 million, and globally the film has netted $264.2 million. Paul DeGarbian, the senior media analyst for ComScore, thinks that all the media attention given to Solo's less than impressive opening weekend numbers could have actually negatively affected its second weekend earnings. Box office got conflated with received value of the movie, and that might have affected its second weekend. The Guardian said sometimes news of the box office can impact the movie's bottom line. He noted that in ComScore's audience survey, most of the over 1,000 people polled really liked the movie. Solo's tumble-boarded even closer to Deadpool 2, which is now in its third weekend in theaters and still managed to reel in an estimated $23.3 million to take second place, with a domestic total of $254.7 million and a crowded marketplace with both Solo and Avengers. Infinity War surrounding it, Deadpool 2 is still only about $30 million behind where the first film was in its third weekend. Shailene Woodley's Lost at Sea drama Adrift fared the best of the three newcomers, which included the horror pick Upgrade and a Johnny Knoxville comedy Action Point. Adrift from STX Entertainment washed up in third place with $11.5 million, while the others struggled to make significant impact. Upgrade opened in sixth place with $4.5 million behind both Avengers Infinity War, which was $10.4 million, and Book Club at $6.8 million, and Action Point, which was not screened for critics, landed in ninth place with a dismal $2.3 million. This weekend also saw a few smaller studio landmarks for Magnolia Pictures, whose Ruth Bader Ginsburg documentary RBG became its highest grossing film ever with $7.9 million, and Pantolin Films, which scored a similar feat with Overboard, which is now up to $45.5 million. Even with Solo's stumble, the year-to-date box office is still up 6.2% as June kicks into gear with some big movies on the horizon, including Ocean's 8, Incredibles 2, and Jurassic World.
Public safety. Cumberland County arrest. Mark and Richard Smith Jr., 56, of the 900 block of Carolina Avenue, was charged Sunday with property conversion. Bill was set at $5,000. Emmanuel Stevens, 37, of the 600 block of Chambers Street in Lumberton, was charged Sunday with common law robbery, possession of stolen property, and misdemeanor assault on a female. Bill was set at $20,000. James B. Shannon, 23, of the 900 block of Pony Club Circle in Cary, was charged Sunday with assault on a government official causing physical injury. Bail was set at $1,000. Christopher Lee Hancock, 35, of the 600 block of Sanders Street in Hope Mills, was charged Sunday with burning personal property. Bail was set at $5,000. Brandon Lee Carter, 31 of the 2800 block of Bragg Boulevard, was charged Saturday with larceny. Bail was set at $5,000. Brandon Guy Bryant, 31 of the 900 block of Beulah Church Road in Lumberton, was charged Saturday with possession of a prohibited firearm by a felon and misdemeanor carrying a concealed weapon. Bail was set at $25,000. Tammy Barton Jacobs, 31 of the 19400 block of NC 87 Weston Tar Heel, was charged Saturday with fraud by false pretense or trickery. Bail was set at $1,000. Break-ins. Hayfield Road in Wade was reported at 7:20 p.m. Saturday with nothing reported missing. Orford Court was reported at 9:43 a.m. Saturday with toys and lawn equipment taken. And Delena Street was reported at 8:02 a.m. Saturday. Nothing was reported missing.
United Way grant benefit young people. United Way of Cumberland County Board of Directors approved $325,000 in grants from the Youth Growth Stock Trust, the organization announced Friday. The trust provides grants each spring to local programs, initiatives, and scholarships that benefit Cumberland County youth, according to the statement released by the board. This year, the committee that oversees the trust received 80 proposals and awarded 53 grants. 12 $5,000 school scholarships were awarded. Recipients were Douglas Byrd Finance Academy, Pine Forest High School Technology Program, Westover High School Health Sciences, Westover High School Engineering, Pine Forest High School Medical Science, Grays Creek High School Information Technology, Cape Fear High School for General Scholarship, Douglas Byrd High School Green Technology, Jack Britt High School Integrated Systems Technology Academy, Southview High School Culinary Program, and 2 awards to the Cumberland County Schools Career Technical Education Program. The board also approved another $115,000 in school program awards. Other school awards and the amounts are Mac Williams Middle School .Ort $1,000, Van Story Hills Elementary School Mobile Coding $4,000, T.C. Barron Elementary School $1,455, Jack Britt High School $2,500, Southview High School Computer Lab $6,300, John Griffin Middle School Author Visit $2,000, Stedman Primary School iPads $5,000, Grays Creek High School Garden Program $970, J.W. Kuhn Elementary School Mentor Program $3,000, J.W. Kuhn Elementary School Makerspace Project $4,000, Grays Creek High School Team Building Program $4,000, W.T. Brown Elementary School Strong Bodies $1,500, Honeycutt Elementary School Global Connections $4,000, John Griffith Middle School Autistic Program $6,800, J.W. Kuhn Elementary School Kinder Music $1,500, Douglas Byrd High School Greenhouse Project $14,000, Grays Creek High School Autistic Program $6,800, Ferguson Easley Elementary School STEM Program $1,300, Southview High School Microscope $4,500, Southview High School Culinary Program $5,000, Ed Baldwin Elementary School $4,000, College Lakes Elementary School $900, Southview High School Horticulture Program $7,000, and Chestnut Middle School Coding Program $6,000, E.E. Smith High School Leadership Program $17,000, Stony Point Elementary School Communication Program, $475. Local awards to nonprofit agencies totaled $150,000. Those awards are Better Health to Cumberland County, $13,500. The Fayetteville Symphony, $11,500. The Salvation Army, $8,500. Miller's Crew, $11,500. Falcon Children's Home, $11,500. Vision Resource Center, $4,000. Child Advocacy Center, $10,000. UWCC Dolly Parton Imagination Library, $18,000. St. Anne's Youth Center, $13,500. Fayetteville Urban Ministry Find a Friend, $11,500. Connections of Cumberland County, $11,500. Cape Fear Botanical Gardens, $6,500. CC Communicare Inc., $4,500. Action Pathways, $9,000. Good Hope Baptist Church, $5,000. For more information, you can contact staff writer Steve Devane. He can be reached at sdevane@fayettevilleobserver.com or 486-3572.
Closing of Troubled Gastonia Motel Upends Lives by Kevin Ellis, Gatehouse Media, Gastonia. At an extended stay motel that has served as a backdrop for killings, drug deals, prostitution, and police calls, 77-year-old Grace Daniel remains feisty but far from lawless. "I haven't had the money to get out of here," said Daniel, explaining why she has lived 21 years at the Budget Inn, where rooms rent for $45 a night or $280 a week. Daniel now has no choice but to move. The city of Gastonia took the keys Friday of a motel it declared a nuisance and bought for $1.2 million in December of 2016. Owner Jay Patel, who paid $825,000 for the motel in April of 2014, started telling guests 3 months ago that by this morning they would all have to find a new place to live. After 60 years, the Budget Inn will give way to the city's multi-million-dollar plans for a Franklin urban sports and entertainment district and stadium that city leaders hope will bring new life to West Gastonia. City leaders hope the district, which will be called Fuse, connects a reinvigorated downtown with the redevelopment that transformed the Glory Mill from the site of the deadly 1929 textile strike into luxury loft apartments and retail space. "This is my home. I've got to leave too," the 52-year-old Patel said Thursday. About 30 of the 61 rooms available for rent still have guests in them on Thursday. Several rooms are uninhabitable. Patel said regulars occupy about 28 of those 30 rooms, some of them with one person to a room, but others housing women and young children. Again and again, those regulars said last week they didn't know where they would go. "I'm sure they'll all find a place somewhere," Patel said. Another hotel or relative or trailer park doesn't cost much to move into a trailer. One longtime guest plans to live in the woods behind a friend's home, Patel said. "I'll be homeless," said Adam, a man who works security at the Budget Inn, in exchange for a discount on his rent. Here are some of their stories. Grace Daniel. 2 rats live with Daniel inside her hotel room, which includes a bed, a small table with a half dozen or more pill bottles on top of it, color TV, and 3 mini refrigerators of which she says only one works. She also has 3 pictures of Jesus on the wall, hanging a foot or 2 above the headboard. "There used to be 5 rats," she said. "Someone gave me a little mouse trap, but rats, you have to have a big trap." She hasn't had a phone for months. Nettie Salazar, the aunt of the Budget Inn security guard, said rats chewed the phone box out of the wall. "They're the sweetest thing," she tells Daniel. "She'd do anything for anybody, and if she don't have it, she'll pray for you," said Salazar. "I'm real close to God," Daniel said. Scoliosis has curved Daniel's back in a way that makes it appear her head rests on her chest when she stands. Rheumatoid arthritis limits mobility of her arms. On Thursday, Salazar said she helped Daniel start the paperwork necessary to move into an assisted living center But that situation does not seem certain. She'll have to go somewhere where she can get help, Salazar said. But she'll first have to go to another motel as details get worked out for a spot at an assisted living center, Salazar said. Life in the margins with little money makes options tough. I went to every place in Gaston County looking for her a place to live, and what do I get? Salazar asked. A door slammed in my face, she said. Daniel has been married twice, but answers about her husbands are hard to come by. She used to share the room with a boyfriend, but he died about 8 years ago. She lives on Social Security, she said, and years ago would wash bed linens and clean windows at the Budget Inn to get previous owners to take half off her rent. These people charge you too much money for how they keep things, she said. Daniel keeps a neat room and said she spends most of her time sitting in a chair watching TV. She can't drive. A friend helps her get groceries. Several bags of chips and other food items remain sealed in large containers on the floor and on the dresser. She planned to move to our new motel on Saturday and to leave most of her belongings behind. Daniel says she has seen a lot and heard a lot in her 21 years at the Budget Inn. Things have been better since Adam, the security guard, started working about 2 years ago, she said. She appreciates Gastonia police making frequent patrols through the property. Several of the motel guests say they try to keep an eye out for Daniel because of her age and how long she has lived at the Budget Inn. Daniel said she feels safe for a simple reason. I lock my door and I don't answer it, she said. The Roscoe family. Gabrielle Roscoe said she knows which rooms the sex offenders live in, and she never lets her children play in the grassy patch near the area where a motel pool once existed before checking the ground for discarded needles. Roscoe, who turned 30 in January, has lived at the Budget Inn for 6 months with her husband, Stephen, and their 3 children, ages 14, 10, and 8. They had a home, but Stephen Roscoe lost his job, and they lost her home, Gabrielle Roscoe said. She's ready to leave the Budget Inn, but says she doesn't know when she'll move when the extended stay motel closes for good. Hope it's not going to be another motel, she said. Living at the Budget Inn has exposed her children to drug dealing and fights, prostitution, and drunkenness. She says she tries to shield them the best she can by staying outside with them while they play. Along with bicycles and skates, the Roscoes have a charcoal grill outside their room they use for cooking. Kids especially like to have other room fights. We try to make it as much fun for these kids as we can, she said. Adam. Things were better for Adam before a few costly speeding tickets resulted in him having too many points to keep his commercial driver's license. Without the ability to drive a truck, he now provides private security at the Budget Inn, walking around the perimeter from 9 p.m. to 3 a.m. during the week and 9 p.m. to 4 a.m. on weekends. His services get him a discount on his room rent there. When the motel closes, Adam figures he and his girlfriend will be homeless. He has places he could go, but those friends don't have room for his girlfriend. She doesn't get along with her family, so that's not an option. A needle scar in the crook of his left arm speaks of his desperation. The mark comes from him donating plasma twice a week to earn an extra $75. The Budget Inn has less trouble than in times past, he said. In January 2016, a fight over a Bluetooth speaker led to the shooting death of Latrice Blake. In March, an alleged impaired driver drove his car into a room, injuring 3 people. The room was never repaired and remains boarded up. Most nights, Adams said, he just deals with run-of-the-mill drama, such as couples fighting and locking each other out of their rooms. He doesn't carry a weapon. His muscular arms and back, covered in tattoos, along with a closely cropped head of hair, give him a tough appearance. He puts cones out at the entrance so he can stop vehicles as they come inside the parking lot. He said he tries to cut down on those with bad intent. A couple. Rebecca Henderson, 26, says she came to live at the Budget Inn 3 years ago when her father punched her in the face. She has shared her life and a room with 34-year-old Rochelle Lynch since January. When I first got here, this place was on fire, Henderson said last week. She said people like security guard Adam and frequent visits by Gastonia police have calmed the place down, but not enough for her to allow her child to live with her there. I think it's one of the best hotels around as far as staff, she said. When they tear it down, it's going to be like tearing down a community. Henderson said she works as a cook and waitress and has most recently worked at the Waffle House on Bessemer City Road. Then said he does home repairs. They both said they like to have more stability, don't have money to pay a deposit on rent for an apartment, nor the cash needed to pay for utilities. They often pay for their room on a daily basis. People like us who are here because we don't have any other choices, she said, and said they don't know where they will go when the budget end closes. We just have to roll with the punches right now and we have to stay together, she said. Jay Patel. Before he brought the budget in, Patel said he worked in the medical field in Charlottesville, Virginia. He said, unlike the other extended stay motel owners in town, he lives on the property. That's my home for my wife, my 2 kids, and Mom, he said, pointing from the motel's front lobby toward a private bathroom and a series of rooms. A small store was attached to the budget inn until about 6 weeks ago. Patel closed it, he said, because his son could no longer work in it as often as needed, and he knew he would be closing the motel soon. Inside the motel lobby, it still has remnants from the store, including toiletries and off-brand cigarettes. He rattles off the names of some of his better guests who work at places such as TJ Maxx, Home Depot, and the Charlotte Douglas Airport. One man drives every day to Charlotte to sell cars, Patel said. These people are not all bad people, Patel said. People think they're staying at the budget inn, so they must be bad people, be on something or stealing something, but there are a lot of good customers who work every day. Patel said he has provided a home to poor people in West Gastonia. He said he would have never sold his business if he had not received a nuisance letter from the city. He has plans to buy a new motel in High Point, but is waiting on loan approval from the Federal Small Business Administration. He said he'll miss Gastonia and some of the guests. He said the area could once again begin to boom, but he has his doubts. With the budget inn closing, these people are still going to do what they do, he said. They're just going to do it across the street now.
This is the Southeastern North Carolina Radio Reading Service, a United Way partner agency. We broadcast from the campus of Fayetteville State University, and our signal is carried by WUNC Chapel Hill. As a nonprofit agency, we rely on public donations. We request your support to continue our services. When making charitable donations, please keep the Southeastern North Carolina Radio Reading Service in mind. Our post office box number is 35029, Fayetteville, North Carolina 28303. If you have any questions or comments, please call us at 910-672-1600 or our toll-free number 1-844-709-5656. Your radio hosts are
Robert Bean
and Beverlyn Simonet, and we are proud to serve you today. No vote on state budget could haunt Democrats. When the state legislature passed North Carolina's $23.9 billion 2018-19 budget this past week, all of the Fayetteville-Fort Bragg region's Democratic lawmakers voted against it, while all the Republicans voted for it. Look for their votes to show up in campaign advertising as the 2018 general election cycle revs up. The North Carolina Republican Party is launching a digital budget accountability campaign against swing seat Democrats who voted against the new state budget, which includes large public employees and teacher pay raises, school safety initiatives, and disaster relief, says a news release from the North Carolina Republican Party. The Democrats have argued that the budget should have spent even more on teacher pay raises and on education in general. They say the Republican majority preferred to give yet another tax cut to corporations and wealthy people, following a series of income tax cuts put in place over the past several years. In Cumberland and Hope counties, the dueling messages likely will come into play in House District 44, where incumbent Democrat Billy Richardson is trying to fend off Republican Linda DeVore. Since Richardson voted against the budget, DeVore, the NCGOP, and outside special interest groups could easily whip up ads that say Billy Richardson voted against a 6.5% teacher pay raise. But will it work? DeVore is the underdog in this Democrat-leaning district, but she could pick off some voters who might otherwise vote for Richardson. The budget vote may be an issue in Senate District 19, which covers much of Cumberland County. Democrat Kirk DeVore is trying to unseat incumbent Republican Senator Wesley Meredith. Meredith can tout that he voted for tax cuts and large teacher wages. DeVore has already said on Facebook the leadership chose corporations over people. An analysis by the North Carolina Free Enterprise Foundation says Senate District 19 is competitive between Democratic and Republicans. A similar study by the politically right-leaning North Carolina Civitas organization says Senate 19 is Democrat-leaning. Elsewhere in the region, incumbent reps Marvin Lucas, Elmer Floyd, and Carlin Pierce and Senator Ben Clark have little to fear from their Republican challengers as the voters in their districts vote so heavily for Democrats. A key complaint the Democrats had with this budget vote was the Republican leadership used the legislative procedural rules to prevent all lawmakers, Republicans and Democrats, from attempting to amend the budget bill after it was made public. It was drafted entirely behind closed doors, and Democrats were not invited in. Normally, there are many opportunities for legislators to try to get their colleagues to make changes to the budget. The Democrats could try to make the process a campaign issue, but it's a level of nuance that many voters are unlikely to notice, and one that could be challenging to fit in a 30-second TV ad or blurb in the voters' Facebook feeds. The budget lockdown had another benefit for the Republicans. They prevented the Democrats from running politically motivated amendments that could have embarrassed Republicans who have the campaign to swing in swing districts. At the same time, the GOP checkmated the Democrats into a hard choice. Vote for a budget which has programs and projects that will sell well in campaign ads, or they stick with their party. Vote no and risk the heat. In the end, only one Democrat, a senator from Pitt County, voted for the budget. He is reported to be in a tough election in a swing district. A single Republican voted no. Republican John Blust of Greensboro. According to the news accounts, Blust said the process used to create the budget this year was wrong. He is not running for re-election. After a final vote Friday, the budget was sent to the governor. Cooper has 10 days from the receipt of the budget to decide whether to sign it, veto it, or allow it to become law without his signature. The budget is to take effect July 1st. Send political news and announcements to Inside Politics at FayettevilleObsever.com. The deadline is on Thursdays for publication in the following Monday edition of the Fayetteville Obsever.
Monday Moment. The Monday Moment highlights everyday slice-of-life happenings in the community. If you have a story idea, email news@fayobserver.com. Monday Moment in the subject line. Today's Monday Moment. Pickleball brings people together. A group of regular players enjoys competition and friendships. Pickleball court by Jacqueline Chambal, staff writer. The sounds of pickleball could be heard well outside of the Myers Recreation Center gymnasium plastic on plastic whacks of paddles hitting wiffle balls echoed down the hall and into the office. And there were other sounds too, like those of laughter in between matches or clapping and cheering after particularly strong points. Those are the sounds that Wayne Mays thinks of when he thinks of pickleball and the group of regular players who meet throughout the week to play the game and catch up. Everyone who plays is just so nice, helpful, and willing to help you learn to play, Mays said. This has kind of become like a family. Mays, who is 71, is one of the group's longtime players, a part of the local pickleball scene for about 5 years. At that time, the group has spread from regular meetings at Hope Mills Recreation Center to 6 days a week at various sites around the county. Myers Rec Center, which has pickleball court lines painted on its gym floor, hosts 3 morning sessions and a Wednesday evening meetup each week. The mornings can see 15 to 20 people turn out, mostly retirees, and the evening session can attract close to 40 people. When we opened it up from just seniors to all ages, Myers Rec Center Supervisor Monique Gilbert said, the numbers grew. The players are still mostly over the age of 50, all amateurs and in it just for the fun, but it probably wouldn't be right to say they're casual about the sport. Mays, for instance, plays 6 days a week, as does John Lawby, who's traveled to Cary, Southern Pines, and Sanford for pickleball tournaments. It's really addictive and fun, Lawby said. Even Brantley Vaughn, who at 90 years of age is one of the group's oldest players, has been playing 2 days a week for about 5 years. Vaughn says it's the social aspect that keeps him coming back. It's the friendships, he said. There's a lot of good people here. The morning sessions at Myers starts at 9:30, and within 15 minutes of that time Wednesday, 2 to 3 courts are going. Most games take less than 20 minutes, but on the busiest days, all 3 courts will be occupied and match point will be cut to 9 points instead of the usual 11 to keep games short and rotate players faster. The group even has the occasional out-of-towner join, like Stephen Arthur, who's visiting Fayetteville from Arizona and didn't want to miss out on his regular pickleball games. I live in a 55 and up community and we have 16 courts, 8 of them with lights, Arthur said. Shay Mathis can understand that sort of dedication. She's been playing for 3 years and usually gets to the courts 4 days a week. I love playing and being around other people and socializing, Mathis said, and I just love the game.
Tower at the Flight 93 National Memorial to open by a 9/11 anniversary. The final phase of Flight 93 National Memorial is underway and on track to open the 17th anniversary of plane's crash into a Pennsylvania field during 9/11. United Airlines Flight 93 was en route from Newark, New Jersey to San Francisco on September 11, 2001, when hijackers seized control and redirected the plane toward Washington, D.C., but 40 passengers and crew members fought back, and the hijackers responded by crashing the plane into a field near Shakespeare, about 60 miles southwest of Pittsburgh. Amid the remote, rolling hills, a national park has taken shape to honor the victims. The final phase of memorial will include a 93-foot tower at the entrance with wind chimes for each of the victims and a grove of trees called the Tower of Voices. So many are looking forward to the dedication of this tower because it will be a sense of completion, said Stephen Clark, the park's superintendent. What is at the memorial site? A memorial plaza was completed in time for the 10th anniversary of the attacks in 2011. It features a white stone wall which traces the path of the dome flight with separate panels for each victim's name. An immersive visitor center completed in 2015 sits on a hill overlooking the crash site. It uses photos, videos, artifacts, and interactive displays to tell the story of Flight 93, the only jetliner among the 4 commandeered by terrorists that failed to reach its intended target. 2 planes crashed into the World Trade Center towers in New York, and 1 slammed into the Pentagon outside Washington. Nearly 3,000 people died. The center's 10 exhibits are laid out chronologically, with visitors learning how the 33 passengers and 7 crew members, at least some of them already aware the nation was under attack, voted to charge the cockpit and then fought to regain control of the plane. The center stark exterior concrete walls are split by black granite walkway that marks the doomed plane's flight path. Only relatives of the 40 passengers and crew who died all allowed to enter the actual crash site. Later this year, the remaining wreckage of the plane will be buried at the site. What does the last phase add? The 92-foot wall tall tower being installed near the park's entrance and will feature 40 tubular metal wind chimes, one each for the 33 passengers and 7 crew members who died. It's designed to serve as a visual and audible reminder of the heroism of those on board. Each chime will have a different tone or voice. The intent is to create a set of 40 tones or voices that can connote through consonants the serenity and nobility of the site, while also through the dissonance recalling the event that consecrated the site. According to a description by primary architect Paul Murdoch, the National Park Foundation, a charity that works to fund the National Park Service project, raised $46 million from 110 private donors, which includes $6 million to design and construct the Tower of Voices. The remaining $40 million has already been earmarked to transform the field into a national park. Groves of trees have already been planted around the site, and volunteers are planting 150,000 seedlings. When will it be open to the public? The Tower of Voices won't be open to the public until the dedication ceremony set for September 9th at 1 p.m. There will be seating for 5,000 members of the public who can enter on a first-come, first-served basis. Many family members of the victims have come to the site once or twice and others not at all, Clark said. He thinks this final segment will draw many more loved ones who feel it will bring a sense of completion. Just as an American seeing this memorial evolve over the years, it's really something to behold, he said.
How many divisions does the deep state have? By Jonah Goldberg. During the so-called McCarthy era, a single question cut across all partisan and philosophical lines. Were you on Senator Joe McCarthy's side or not? McCarthy's conspiratorial, bullying, blunderbuss, anti-communism, and red-baiting was either defensible or it wasn't. Remarkably, for many on the right, the question of whether you were with McCarthy almost completely crowded out the question of whether or not you were right-wing or left-wing, Democrat or Republican, or even where you stood on the question of communism itself. The pressing issue was whether McCarthy went too far in the accusations of vast communist conspiracies within the government and other insinuations of treason on a mass scale. The Trump era is very different than the McCarthy era in many important ways. Chief among them, in the 1950s, communism was on the march, across borders in Europe and through the institutions of government and academia here at home. Say what you will about communism, starting with its murderous barbarity, it was a large cause worthy of the passion it invited. In the Trump era, the passions are large, but the cause seems terribly small by comparison. Faith in conspiracies and the people who peddle them are once again a major dividing line, but the conspiracies themselves lend themselves to the conclusion that history is repeating itself as farce. We are told that the deep state is yet another vast conspiracy, lurking like a fifth column within the highest reaches of the government, dedicated to something. Not to a foreign power and not to some large cause, but to itself. The president insisted deep state unleash spies to infiltrate his campaign in order to fill in the blank. If the answer is to derail the Trump campaign, the deep state failed abysmally, causing far more damage to the president's opponent. The spy in question was a man who had a couple conversations with men, Carter Page and George Papadopoulos, who expressed an eagerness to work with a foreign power, Russia. A year ago, the Trump administration insisted, quite persuasively, that these would-be Russian stooges were little better than coffee boys and hangers-on. Now, to advance the narrative of deep state penetration, they amount to the heart of the Trump campaign. It is entirely plausible that FBI cut too many corners in its investigations into Page, Papadopoulos, and others in Trump's orbit. But that concession is not enough for the president and his partisans. One must ascribe to the idea that there is a vast and pernicious Hydra-like entity lurking within the government to tear down the president. Like the ugly American who thinks if he just shouts louder, the foreigner will understand English, the insistent threat is unprecedented in American history. One of the president's most loyal idolaters, Sebastian Gorka, insists that the possibly inappropriate use of a FISA warrant to investigate Page and Papadopoulos is 100 times worse than the crimes of the British Crown that warranted the American Revolution. The McCarthy era had similar exaggerations, but they were built on a far more solid foundation. There were indeed figurative witch hunts back then, but there were also witches. Witches who gave the Soviet Union nuclear secrets, and warlocks who swore allegiance to a foreign power and the cause of overthrowing the U.S. government. Today, the larger cause is simply Donald Trump, a victim, saint, martyr in need of a large cause arrayed against him to justify his excesses. Thus, the deep state is like the pig's head Beelzebub and the Lord of the Flies, a demon conjured to justify opposition to it. It's like the McCarthy era in a timeline where there was no communist threat to support it. For his supporters, to question McCarthy's claims of vast conspiracies was an expression of disloyalty to the cause of anti-communism and tantamount to a confession of treason. To question Trump's theories of the deep state is simply a form of disloyalty to Trump, and for some, that snuffs out all other meaningful distinctions. So now, according to many Trump water carriers, Representative Trey Gowdy, an impeccable conservative, is not just a Democrat and Republican mufti, but an accomplice of the deep state, all because he defended the FBI's investigation of Page and Papadopoulos. The McCarthy era was pretty short for an era, lasting 4 years, if that, but that's the thing about eras, they don't have a precise definition. We use the term to describe periods of time that feel at odds with what came before them and, one hopes, what comes after. Jonah Goldberg is an editor-at-large at National Review Online and a visiting fellow of the American Enterprise Institute. You can email him at jonascolumn@aol.com.
Letter to the editor. What is happening to our society? If you're wondering what has happened to this society, you should go to the internet and look up Yuri Bezmenov. He was a Soviet KGB operative who defected in 1970. He explained during interviews what the Soviet Union was doing to destroy this country from within. If you watch any of the videos of his interviews, you will see they have succeeded in most of their goals. The ideological subversion that has taken place in the last 40 years is dramatic and scary. Between BLM, ANTIFA, Marxists, liberals, and the like, we are so divided we can't see what is happening to the greatest country in the world. To quote Ronald Reagan, the last great hope of mankind, we are so worried about the Russians messing in our elections that we don't notice that they have taken over our educational system. In a recent survey, data showed that 1 in 2 millennials would rather live in a socialist country than in a capitalist one. They can't even define socialism. The Black Book of Communists documents that 94 million people died due to communist regimes, 20 million in the Soviet Union alone. A large portion of these were the intellectuals. Maybe our liberal educational system needs to rethink what they are teaching. Walter L. Pollard of Fayetteville. There's a cartoon of a man that says walking the dogs. He has people with collars that says U.S. allies. And then he has collars with nobody that says China trade deal, NAFTA deal, and Europe trade deal. And of course, there's our president holding the leashes.
This is the Southeastern North Carolina Radio Reading Service, a United Way partner agency. We broadcast from the campus of Fayetteville State University. Our signal is carried by WUNC Chapel Hill. As a nonprofit agency, we rely on public donations. We request your support to continue our services. When making charitable donations, please keep the Southeastern North Carolina Radio Reading Service in mind. Our address is P.O. Box 35029, Fayetteville, North Carolina 28303. If you have any questions or comments, please call us at area code 910-672-1600 or toll free at 1-844-709-5656. Your radio hosts are
Devlin Simonet
and Robert Bean, and we are proud to serve you today. It is the top of the hour, time for the obituaries. Death notices. The following deaths have been reported. Upcoming editions of the Fayetteville Observer will contain complete obituary information. Cumberland County. John J. Winston, 66, of 5833 Chasen Ridge Drive, Fayetteville. Butler & Son Funeral Home, Roseboro. Raymond Randall Johnson, 76, of Greensboro, formerly of Anderson Creek, Adcock Funeral Home. In Cumberland County, Andre Nagy, 86, died Friday at Cape Fear Valley Health with a family by his side. He was a retired U.S. Army sergeant and a Vietnam War veteran. Funeral will be at 9 a.m. Tuesday, June 5th, 2018 at Adcock Funeral Home in Spring Lake. Burial will follow the service at 10 a.m. at Sand Hills State Veterans Cemetery in Fort Bragg. The pastors Dwayne Smith and Ken Andrews of Lighthouse Baptist Church officiating. Condolences may be made at adcockfunerallandcrematory.com. Glenn Riley Monk McCaskill, 87, of Fayetteville, passed away on Saturday, June 2nd, 2018, at the crossings at Wayside in Rayford. The family will receive friends from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. on Wednesday, June 6, 2018, at Sullivan's Highland Funeral Service. The funeral will follow at 2 p.m., officiated by Pastor Tim Evans. There will be a private burial at Cumberland Memorial Gardens. In lieu of flowers, please consider making a donation to Massey Hill Baptist Church or to a charity of your choice. Condolences may be expressed at sullivanshighland.com. Services are entrusted to Sullivan's Highland Funeral Service and Crematory. Josephine Kelly, 75, of Fayetteville, died Tuesday, May 29, 2018. The funeral will be Tuesday at 1 p.m. at Christ Cathedral, 506 Deep Creek Road. Viewing will be at the church Tuesday from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Burial will be at Northside Cemetery. Services entrusted to Dafford Funeral Home. Done. That concludes today's obituaries.
Dear Abby, red flags remain in romance that return after 47 years. I have rekindled a romance from my youth. Jerry and I were engaged to be married 47 years ago, but I felt he was too worldly and fast for me, so I broke off the engagement. I later married and had a happy marriage for 36 years until my husband died. Jerry found me on Facebook and started writing. Abby, he has been married and divorced 5 times. We eventually got together and have been seeing each other for almost 2 years now. He wants us to get married, but I am again hesitant because our lifestyles are so vastly different. I enjoy spending time with him, but I'm also glad when he leaves. Many times I wish I had never answered his first letter. On the other hand, I have had some great times with him. We are so different in many ways. I'm not sure I can put up with some of the things he says and does. What's wrong with me? Why can't I make up my mind what to do? I have broken up with him twice, but he manages to work his way back into my life. Please tell me what I should do or how to know what is right for me. Rekindled romance. Dear Rekindle, listen closely to your intuition. If you are enjoying the relationship as it is, you should keep it that way, because you are happy when Jerry leaves and have doubts about being able to tolerate things he says and does. It would be a mistake to wed a man who has struck out at marriage 5 times. Dear Abby, after many years of fiscal responsibility, hard work, and sacrifice, we are set to pay off the mortgage on our house this year. I want to throw an old-fashioned open house home mortgage burning party and burn the mortgage in this smoker after the turkey's done. My wife and I never had a reception after our wedding so long ago. I think we are due a party to celebrate this milestone. My wife is against it. She says too many of our friends and family have financial troubles, and a mortgage burning party would rub their noses in it. She has loaned her brother $50,000 over the years and more to her friends. Most of them have yet to repay. I think a mortgage burning party would be an example to them to strive for and achieve, and we deserve to celebrate. Your answers will determine if we have the party. If you vote yes, you are invited. Big achievement. Dear Big, mortgage burning parties went out of fashion decades ago for many reasons. Among them, the fact that many homeowners no longer live in the same place long enough to pay their mortgages in full. Today, many people choose to refinance their loan rather than pay it off. As much as I'd like to attend your party, I have to vote with your wife. To invite guests whom you know are having money troubles to such an event would be insensitive. If you are in a celebratory mood, by all means throw a party, but be discreet and refrain from flaunting your success in the faces of your guests. Readers can write to Dear Abby at dearabby.com or P.O. Box 69440, Los Angeles, California 90069, Universal Click.
From Tribune Content Agency, Billy Graham. Beware Satan's many forms and his ultimate motive. From the writings of the Reverend Billy Graham. A.K. writes, yesterday a 9-year-old son tried to draw a picture of the devil, complete with horns and a pitchfork and red suit. No one really knows what he looks like, do they? Does the Bible say? Answer, no, the Bible doesn't tell us exactly what the devil looks like, and with good reason, for he does not limit himself to a single image. Instead, Satan is a powerful spiritual being who pervades the whole creation, far greater than any person. For centuries, people have tried to picture what Satan must look like, and I find it interesting that they almost always portray him as repulsive and evil and violent. He is not as powerful as God, nor is he eternal like God, and someday his power will come to an end. Don't limit him to any mental image you may have of a pitchfork-carrying person in a red suit. Anything that pictures him as cute or harmless is misleading. He is anything but harmless. At the same time, the Bible does tell us that at times Satan and his demons may take on human form. As attempts to deceive us into following him, the Bible says he may even try to make us think he is a messenger from God. The Bible says Satan himself masquerades as an angel of light. 2 Corinthians chapter 11, verse 14. Satan's main goal is to keep us from Christ because he knows only Christ can deliver us from hell and take us safely to heaven. Is your faith and hope in Christ, and are you teaching your children about him as well? The Bible says salvation is found in no one else, for there is no other name under heaven given to mankind by which we must be saved. Acts chapter 4, verse 12.
Today's horoscope by Stella Wilder. If you were born today, you are something of a mystery. Although those in your inner circle who know the most intimate aspects of your life can be proud to say that they know you inside and out, for you do indeed reveal yourself to those closest to you. Gemini, May 21st through June 20th. You will require cooperation between your teammates and a third party today if you're going to turn fantasy into reality. Cancer, June 21st through July 22nd. Someone may ask you to predict the future in some way today, but you're not willing to let the cat out of the bag just yet. Leo, July 23rd through August 22nd. Serious charges may have been leveled against you, but if you are truthful, you can prevail, no matter how tricky things get. Virgo, August 23rd through 22nd. You're not likely to experience any kind of disloyalty or mutiny today, and your plans can progress according to schedule. Libra, September 23rd through October 22nd. What you witness today may be far more serious than anyone directly involved is willing to admit, and you may be asked to tell your story. Scorpio, October 23rd through November 21st. You can get back to the basics today. A friend sees things very much the way you do, which is likely to smooth the way for you just in time. Sagittarius, November 22nd through December 21st. You can certainly uncover some unusual bargains today, but take care. You mustn't spend money on that which you don't really want. Capricorn, December 22nd through January 19th. Others may withhold their support for a while today until you have explained yourself fully. You have nothing to hide, do you? Aquarius, January 20th through February 18th. Things are not likely to be certain as you had hoped today. You may have to travel a winding path to get to your destination. Pisces, February 19th through March 20th. You may be deprived of something valuable by someone who has been working against you for some time. You can make things right by day's end. Aries, March 21st through April 19th. You mustn't let any lack of candor stand between you and what you want today, whether it is yours or someone else's. Tell the truth. Taurus, April 20th through May 20th. Someone may ask questions of you today that indicate he or she is getting closer to a hidden truth. You may be troubled by more than that.
Support groups for Mondays. Celebrate Recovery meets from 5:30 to 8:30 p.m. at Aaron Lake Baptist Church on 1130 Bingham Drive. This is a multi-denominational Christ-based 12-step program. It can include post-traumatic stress disorder, depression, abuse, drugs, alcohol, and more. For more information, call 424-7211 or contact John at 723-2319. Suicide Grief Support Group meets at 6:30 p.m. at Manna Church on 5117 Cliffdale Road, Building A. This is a group for those who are grieving the loss of a relative, friend, co-worker, or loved one due to suicide. For more information, call area code 910-302-8548. The Tia Hart Community Recovery Program meets from 7 to 8 p.m. at 116 East Elwood Avenue in Rayford. For more information, call 848-1872. Al-Anon meets at 7 p.m. at Haymount United Methodist Church Youth Activity Center on 1900 Fort Bragg Road. For more information, call 8002. Divorce Care meets from 7 to 8:30 p.m. at Manna Church on 5117 Cliffdale Road. For more information, contact Tim or Tracy at 892-5439. And Christ We Do Recover meets from 8 to 9 p.m. at the Hope Harbor Christian Mission on US 301 South Service Road. This is an open meeting that deals with chemical dependency. For more information, contact Woody at 423-0608 or 424-8800, extension 272. There are several Alcoholics Anonymous meetings on Mondays. There are 7 a.m., noon, 5:30, and 8 p.m. meetings at 626 Sandalwood Drive. There's a 10 a.m. meeting at 40 Marion Road in Lumberton. Holy Trinity Episcopal Church on 1601 Rayford Road has a noon meeting. There are noon and 5:30 p.m. meetings at 604 German Street. There's a noon meeting at 6:30 p.m. at 401 East 1st Street and Lumberton. Highland Presbyterian Church on 111 Highland Avenue has a 6:30 p.m. meeting. There's also a 6:30 p.m. meeting at My River Reese on 560 Wilkes Road. Spring Lake Methodist Church on 111 North Bragg Boulevard has a 7 p.m. meeting. That's in Spring Lake. United Methodist Church on 4955 Legion Road in Hope Mills has an 8 p.m. meeting. There's an 8 p.m. meeting at 400 Prospect Road in Pembroke. The Alcoholics Anonymous hotlines are 678-8733 or 678-8002. Recovery in Action meets at 8 p.m. at Manna Church on 5117 Cliffdale Road. For more information, call 867-9151. The Landing, a meeting for teens 13 to 18 seeking healing from their hurts, hang-ups, and habits, meets from 5:30 to 8:30 p.m. at Aaron Lake Baptist Church Family Life Center, 1130 Bingham Drive. Narcotics Anonymous. To find weekly meeting times and locations, call 866-418-9500 or go to their website, crna.org. People Assisting Victims meets at 7:30 p.m. at Cumberland Community Foundation Building on Green Street. Sex Addicts Anonymous. To find meeting times and locations, call 1-800-477-8191. Spinal Cord Injury Support Group meets at 3 p.m. at Cape Fear Valley Rehabilitation Center Cafeteria. And for more information, you can call 615-4051 or 615-6066. And Takeoff Pound Sensibly meets at 5:30 p.m. at First Baptist Church, 202 Summit Drive in Sanford. For more information, call 1-800-932-8677. Go to their website, tops.org, tops.org. And those are your support groups for Monday.
2 killed in Cumberland Road wreck. 2 people were killed in a wreck on Cumberland Road on Sunday, officials said. Emergency workers were called to the area between Hopedale Street and Spell Drive about 4 p.m. About 30 minutes later, 3 fire engines, 4 state highway patrol cars, at least 3 rescue vehicles, and 4 Cumberland County Sheriff's Office vehicles were on the scene. Cumberland Road was blocked to traffic in both directions. White sheets had been placed over a small gold pickup which had come to rest halfway off the road. A medical examiner was seen speaking with state troopers. 2 wreckers arrived about 45 minutes after the accident. Twice, emergency workers held up tarps to shield parts of the scene from view. Officials were still on the scene about 2 hours after the accident. The names of the people who were killed and details of how the accident happened were not immediately available. Steve Devane. 3 fire engines were at the scene of an accident on Cumberland Road on Sunday afternoon. 2 people were killed in the wreck.
From the Life section, they ditched home ownership for a small house, and they love it, by Lisa Bloom, Los Angeles Times, Tribune News Service. For Heidi Hansing, the The last 3 years felt as if she were moving backward. Nothing in my life was what it seemed, Hansing says of her divorce after 22 years of marriage. Everything had changed. For 30 years, Hansing had served others, beginning in the Army when she was 17. Later, she raised a family and served as a city council member in League City, Texas. She was on the verge of becoming an empty nester. Didn't want to rattle around my house like half of the former whole, Hansing says. I thought, what does Heidi want out of life? Traveling was at the top of her list. She looked at where she wanted to be, traveling to the Blue Ridge Parkway, Crater Lake, and Key West, and backwards planned from there. She sold her 4-bedroom dream home, made a commitment to living small, put her memorabilia in storage, and bought a living vehicle from Santa Barbara-based architect Matthew Hoffman. Hoffman was a popular vendor at the annual Dwell on Design trade show held in April in downtown Los Angeles. Visitors were transfixed by the idea of sidestepping crippling real estate and rents in Los Angeles and elsewhere in California. Others dreamed of opting for a simpler life or satisfying their wanderlust. After updating more than 400 vintage Airstreams for clients and living in mobile spaces himself for a decade, Hoffman, 34, knew a lot about small space living. And in an age of housing shortages and skyrocketing home prices, Hoffman saw an opportunity to design a 21st century mobile home that was less about recreation and more about function. Every time people use an RV for a living space, it's a compromise, Hoffman says. I wanted to create something that resembles a home. The living vehicle is built from the ground up for full-time living. Starting around $149,995, the living vehicle is made of steel and aluminum and can be towed with a full-size pickup truck. The LV Travel Series, starting at $90,000, will debut in the fall. The custom vehicle can sleep 6 and comes equipped with modern amenities such as solar panels, Wi-Fi antenna, lithium batteries, and iOS operating system so it works with your iPhone, a spa-style shower, and self-supporting deck. The interiors are intentionally light and bright with white walls, skylights, and windows to avoid what Hoffman calls a tin can vibe. Looking ahead, he hopes to create a net-zero vehicle that requires no fuel or utilities to function. One big consideration for all 3 buyers or anyone else interested in hitching up a home, where to stash it, especially when you're on the move. Such vehicles are typically parked in an RV park or on personal property, but some municipalities may not be so welcoming. Such considerations need to be thought out in advance and double-check with local authorities. Hoffman advises customers to consult with the Bureau of Land Management's website, which lists free campsites that can be used for up to 14 days. Hoffman has sold 15 vehicles in 3 months and thinks the interest demonstrates a shift in how people want to live. People used to value a big house with 2 cars and 2 kids, and those statistics required people to work all the time, says Hoffman, who splits his time between a boat in the Santa Barbara harbor and traveling in a living vehicle with wife Joanna, who is 30. There's a major shift now, especially among millennials. People are vaulting experience and connection with other people over tangible things. Millennials tell us, I can be a homeowner. For Lafayette, California-based Jacqueline and Stuart Sweet, both 29, the living vehicle offers them the opportunity to work remotely while traveling throughout the country. The couple are currently packing up their home to rent and are preparing to drive their living vehicle to Washington State, where they have purchased a home. The plans are to use Spokane as a jumping-off point, says Jacqueline, a yoga instructor. We like road trips and have always wanted to travel. Recognizing how easy it is to work remotely, we realize that downsizing may give us more opportunity. The movable lifestyle clearly speaks to people regardless of age. It's about living simply with those you love, Hoffman says. Tuluma residents Nicole and Jan Perullo, both 48, purchased their living vehicle while in the process of selling their home. They had hoped to purchase another home and use the living vehicle as an accessory dwelling unit, couldn't find housing after the Sonoma County fires in October of 2017. The couple did an about-face and are now renting a 200-acre property in Oregon with plenty of room for their living vehicle, pets, and daughter Ellie, 8, and twins Wyatt and Nathaniel, 10. We don't know yet if we are staying, says Nicole, 48. I love Sonoma. My heart is there. My friends and community are there. The cost of living there is so high. Nicole says they hope to use the living vehicle as an hairnet in Oregon and for family travel. I really want to travel with my children. I take a year off and homeschool them, says Perullo. We'd like to go to Boulder or San Diego or to some of the state parks. I'm a stay-at-home mom. My husband is in finance. He can telecommute. It's kind of versatility in home ownership, however, it's not without a learning curve. It's not easy being this free, says Hansen, who runs a skincare line from her phone and has lived in her living vehicle full-time since December. It's been humbling. I have to be knowledgeable about my trailer, which is super high-tech. It is hard manual work. I joined a CrossFit gym to prepare for traveling on the road. My body is bruised and sore. My hands hurt from setting up camp, loading, hitching. It's not glamorous, but when it's done, I'll pop a beer and think I deserve this. Her new life on the road, Hansing also spends a lot of time on her Harley-Davidson motorcycle, has also taught her how to be flexible. I've been a planner all my life, Hansing says. My plan now is to have no plan.
4-H summer program offers fun activities. School ends for students in Cumberland County Public Schools on Friday. And there are plenty of activities for enjoyment, learning, and leadership available through Cooperative Extension's 4-H Summer Fun Program. The 4-H Summer Fun Program offers activities in June, July, and August and is for ages 5 through 19. Examples of activities include arts and crafts, cooking, science, and technology workshops, field trips, and leadership camps. Youth 4-H membership is required and there are fees for most activities. Seating for each event is limited, so early registration is encouraged. To find out more, go to cumberland.ces.ncsu.edu or call 321-6864. For example, of a 4-H summer fun activity that has become popular is the Junior Master Gardening Program for children ages 6 to 8. The program will be held June 25th through 29th from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. at Cape Fear Botanical Garden. Youth will learn the importance of plants, plant classification, needs, growth, and propagation. The cost is $50 per child and the registration deadline is Friday. Farm History Workshop. Compared to a century ago, there are far fewer families working on farms, but you can learn more about what the American farm was like in the early 1900s by attending the American Farm Then and Now, June 21st from noon to 1:30 p.m. The workshop is part of the Cumberland County Cooperative Extension Better Living series. The $10 registration fee is due by June 19th. For more information or to register, contact Susan Johnson at 321-6405 or email Susan_Johnson at ncsu.edu. See a full workshop schedule at cumberland.ces.ncsu.edu. Community Health Survey. Help the Cumberland County Department of Public Health gain a better understanding of the health needs and well-being of the community by completing a health opinion survey as part of the 2018 Community Health Needs Assessment. The assessment report and action plans will be developed based on the survey data and additional information pulled from the state databases. If you are a Cumberland County resident, you can complete the quick online survey by going to surveymonkey.com/r/health A Spanish version is available at es.surveymonkey.com/r/saludested Carolina DELNORTE The survey link may also be accessed from the Health Department's website at co.cumberland.nc.us/health. For questions about the survey, contact Stepharia Nicholson at snicholson@co.cumberland.nc.us or 433-2893, or William Hathcock at that's WHAITH at CapeFearValley.com or 615-7667. Hard copies of the survey are available in English and Spanish at the Health Department, located at 1235 Ramsey Street, Fayetteville, or any of the 8 Cumberland County Library branches. Cumberland Update. Today, Board of Commissioners regular meeting is at 9 a.m. in room 118 of the Cumberland County Courthouse, located at 117 Dick Street. Watch the meeting live on the county's website at co.cumberland.nc.us. Tonight, the budget public hearing is at 7 p.m. in room 118 of the Cumberland County Courthouse, located at 117 Dick Street. Watch the meeting live on the county's website at co.cumberland.nc.us. Okay. Anyone wishing to speak during the public comment period should register prior to the start of the meeting. John Souls is the Public Information Specialist for Cumberland County Government. You can reach him at 910-321-6579 or jsouls at co.cumberland.nc.us. That's Cumberland Matters.
This is the Southeastern North Carolina Radio Reading Service, a United Way partner agency. We broadcast from the campus of Fayetteville State University, and our signal is carried by WUNC Chapel Hill. As a nonprofit agency, we rely on public donations. We request your support to continue our services. When making charitable donations, please keep the Southeastern North Carolina Radio Reading Service in mind. Our address is P.O. Box 35029, Fayetteville, North Carolina 28303. If you have any questions or comments, please call us at area code 910-672-1600 or toll free at 1-844-709-5656. Your radio hosts are
Beverly Simonette
and Robert Bean, and we are proud to serve you today. State Grease. Suspect charged in woman's death at motel, Charlotte. Police have charged a man with murder after a woman was found dead in a motel room. Charlotte Mecklenburg police say in a news release, officers responding to a call of an overdose Saturday found 40-year-old Demerin Laverne Ardrey unresponsive with signs of injuries. Ardrey was pronounced dead at the scene by emergency personnel. Police say they interviewed 41-year-old James Mangus Brewer. They said Brewer, who had a dating relationship with Ardrey, had been involved in an altercation. After he was interviewed, Brewer was taken to the Mecklenburg County Jail. Online records don't say whether he has an attorney. Driver faces charges in scooter operator's death, Burlington. Authorities have charged a man in the death of a scooter driver. Police in Burlington tell local news sources 21-year-old Tyler Scott LaPlaca of Elon is charged with felony death by motor vehicle, felony hit and run, and driving while impaired. According to police, 46-year-old Anton Lydell Downey of Burlington was killed when a Ford F-250 hit him as he rode his scooter early Saturday. A news release from police said the driver of the pickup truck fled, but North Carolina Highway Patrol troopers stopped him minutes later for speeding with his headlights off. Troopers said LaPlace registered a blood alcohol level of 0.14, nearly twice the legal limit. LaPlaca was jailed on a bond of $100,300. Online records didn't indicate whether he has an attorney. Car dealer to remove statue depicting Native American, Asheville. Our car dealership has taken down a statue depicting a Native American following a text sent by an employee to a potential customer. Local news sources report Harry's on the Hill in Asheville announced the employee sent an ugly, insulting, and inappropriate text message to a customer who was a member of the Eastern Band of the Cherokee Indians instead of a co-worker for whom it was intended. The dealership said the worker who sent the text was immediately fired. Nashville Citizen-Times reports the 23-foot-tall fiberglass statue of Chief Pontiac was erected when the dealership moved to its current location in November of 1967. On its Facebook page, the dealership said it now considers the statue a relic from a different era that should be removed. And the state briefs are from the Associated Press.
2 red wolf pups born at NC Zoo died. 2 of the 5 red wolf pups born at the North Carolina Zoo in the wake of severe weather have died. The News and Observer of the Raleigh reports zoo officials said the pups named Hurricane and Typhoon were euthanized after they received traumatic injuries caused by their father. The zoo said the dad named Phoenix was relocated to protect the survival of the remaining puppies. Veterinary staff workers are conducting a pathology test to assess the health of the pups at the time of their death. The pups are kept in a quiet, non-public viewing area of the zoo to minimize contact with humans and allow the mother, 6-year-old Aida, to raise the pups with minimal stress in a natural habitat. One of the reasons that these pups were being raised in a quiet, off-viewing area is to try and prevent this type of incident, said Chris Lasher, Animal Management Supervisor at the zoo and Species Survival Plan Coordinator for the wolves. But even with these precautions, we are not always successful in preventing these types of losses that are known to occur in both the wild settings and for wolves under human care. Zoo officials were relieved when 3 female and 2 male puppies were born in April during the weekend when severe thunderstorms and tornadoes swept through the triad. With the death and the father's relocation, the zoo's red wolf pack now total 21. While a setback like this is difficult for our team to experience, the 3 remaining pups represent an important step forward for the species, said Roger Sweeney, General Curator for the zoo. We remain focused on fighting to preserve a place for this iconic American species. In April, 1 of the 3 red wolf pups born at the Museum of Life and Science in Durham died.
China-U.S. spar over proposed tariffs. Top economic powers stand off as China warns U.S. trade deals are off if tariffs go through, by Joe McDonald and Paul Wiseman, the Associated Press, Beijing. China said Sunday it wouldn't step up its purchases of American products if President Donald Trump goes ahead with his threat to tax billions of dollars worth of Chinese imports. White House advisors insisted on fundamental changes in ties between the world's 2 biggest economic powers. China's warning came after delegations led by U.S. Commerce Secretary Wilbur Ross and China's top economic official, Vice Premier Liu He, wrapped up a meeting on Beijing's pledge to narrow its trade surplus. Ross said at the start of the event they had discussed specific American exports China might purchase. The talks ended with no joint statement. Neither side released details. Both sides appear to have hardened their negotiating stances and are waiting for the other side to blink, said S.Y. Prasad, professor of trade policy at Cornell University. Despite the potential negative repercussions for both economies, the risk of a full-blown China-U.S. trade war, with tariffs and other trade sanctions being imposed by both sides, has risen significantly. Asked specifically on Fox's Sunday Morning Futures if the U.S. is willing to throw away its relationship with China by proceeding with threatened tariff hikes, Peter Navarro, director of the White House National Trade Council, pointed in part to an unfair relationship involving a multi-billion-dollar trade deficit, Defense Secretary Jim Mattis's warning of China's activities in the South China Sea, and the threat of China stealing U.S. intellectual property. That's a relationship with China that structurally has to change, he said. The love to have a peaceful, friendly relationship with China, but we're also standing firm that the president is the leader of this. The United States has threatened to impose tariffs on up to $50 billion worth of Chinese products in a dispute over Beijing's aggressive tactics to challenge U.S. technological dominance. Trump has asked U.S. Trade Representative Robert Lighthizer to look for another $100 billion in Chinese products to tax. China has targeted $50 billion in U.S. products in retaliation. Tensions temporarily eased on May 19th after China promised to significantly increase its purchases of U.S. farm, energy, and other products. Treasury Secretary Steven Mnuchin had said then that the U.S. tariffs were suspended and a trade war on hold. The purchases are meant to reduce America's massive trade deficit in goods and services with China, which last year came to $337 billion, according to the U.S. Commerce Department. After the apparent ceasefire, global financial markets rallied in relief. But Trump upended the truce last Tuesday by renewing his threat to impose 25% tariffs on $50 billion in Chinese high-tech goods. Tariffs are meant to pressure Beijing for allegedly stealing trade secrets and forcing foreign companies to hand over technology in exchange for access to the Chinese market. Navarro later called Mnuchin's conciliatory comments an unfortunate soundbite. Ross nonetheless journeyed to Beijing Friday to work out details of the vague agreement Mnuchin had earlier cobbled together with the Chinese vice premier. China balked at making concessions unless the U.S. lifted the tariff threat. As the United States introduces trade sanctions, including a tariff increase, all of the economic and trade achievements negotiated by the two parties will not take effect, said a Chinese government statement carried by the official Xinhua news agency. The negotiating process should be based on the premise of not fighting a trade war, the statement said. The dispute with China comes at the same time Trump has riled some of America's closest allies with the imposition of tariffs on steel and aluminum imports. After a three-day meeting of finance ministers from the G7 industrial nations that ended Saturday in Canada, Canadian Finance Minister Bill Morneau issued a summary saying the other 6 members want Trump to hear their message of concern and disappointment over the U.S. trade actions. Allies including Canada and the European Union are threatening retaliatory tariffs. Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau told NBC's Meet the Press on Sunday that the reciprocal tariffs would hurt both U.S. and Canadian workers and consumers. He also pushed back against the argument that Canadian steel poses a U.S. security threat. The idea that we are somehow a national security threat to the United States is quite frankly insulting and unacceptable, he said. Bruno Le Maire, France's finance and economy minister, also called the U.S. tariffs unjustified. We regret that our common work together at the levels of the G7 has been put at risk by the decisions taken by the American administration on trade and on tariffs, he said. Trade analysts had warned Ross's hand might be weakened if the Trump administration alienated allies who share complaints about Chinese technology policy and a flood of low-priced steel, aluminum, and other exports.
Blacks fare surprisingly well in prostate cancer research. Black men with advanced prostate cancer fared surprisingly well in 2 new studies that challenge current thinking about racial disparities in the disease. Blacks are more likely to get prostate cancer and to die from it than whites, but the new research suggests getting access to the same treatment may help balance the odds. Even if it doesn't greatly extend life after cancer has spread, given the same standard treatments, blacks with advanced disease may do even better than whites, the study suggests. Both were presented Friday at an American Society of Clinical Oncology meeting in Chicago. The lead author of one study, Susan Halabi of Duke University, said the results are contrary to the mainstream understanding that blacks fare worse than whites with prostate cancer. She said the analysis highlights the importance of minorities participating in medical studies. Her report pooled results from 9 studies in the U.S., Europe, and Asia and focused on the more than 7,000 whites and 500 blacks with advanced prostate cancer who had stopped responding to hormone therapy. patients' average age was 69, and most had cancer that had spread to their bones. The men were all treated with standard chemotherapy. The analysis found that the black men fared at least as well as whites, with both groups surviving almost 2 years after starting treatment. But researchers found a slight survival advantage for black men. They were about 20% less likely than whites to die. When taking into account patients' individual characteristics, including tumor type and levels of PSA, a blood protein that can be elevated in cancer.
Don't let anything stop you, Parkland grads told by Terry Spencer of the Associated Press, Sunrise, Florida. Graduating seniors at the Florida high school, where a gunman killed 17 people in February, received diplomas Sunday and heard from surprise commencement speaker Jimmy Fallon, who urged them to move forward and don't let anything stop you. 4 families received diplomas on behalf of loved ones slain in the attack that gave rise to a campaign by teens for gun control. Principal Ty Thompson underscored the honors for the dead students in a tweet. Remember those not with us and celebrate all the success the class of 2018 has brought to the community and the world, Thompson tweeted. The Tonight Show host offered similar praise, saying, "You're not just the future, you're the present. Keep changing the world, keep making us proud." In a video of his address, Fallon joked that the students won't be classmates anymore. They'll be adults who will Facebook search each other at 2 in the morning for the next 10 years. Turning more serious, he said, "First thing is this, when something feels hard, remember that it gets better. Choose to move forward. Don't let anything stop you." He thanked them for their bravery and activism. Graduate Shannon Ricoeur said afterward that Fallon made us laugh and cry with his speech. "He brought a positive energy. I'm glad he came," Ricoeur said. The private ceremony for the nearly 800 members of the Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School class of 2018 was held at the B&T Center, where the National Hockey League's Florida Panthers play. It was moved to the arena to accommodate the expected large crowd. Reporters were not permitted inside the arena. 14 students and 3 staff members died in the February 14th attack in Parkland. Former student Nicholas Cruz is charged with their deaths and the wounding of 17 other people. Attorneys for the 19-year-old have said he will plead guilty in exchange for a sentence of life without parole. Prosecutors are seeking the death penalty. The school planned to present diplomas to the families of Nicholas Florett, Joaquin Oliver, Meadow Pollock, and Carmen Shentrup. Graduate Chris Grady said the families of the 4 slain classmates received standing ovations when they picked up the diplomas, with Oliver's mom wearing a t-shirt that read, "This should be my son." He said graduates Emma Gonzalez and David Hogg, who have become prominent in the March for Our Lives gun control movement, got a mixed response as their names were announced. Gonzalez got cheers, he said, while Hogg got a mixture of cheers and boos. "I felt bad for him," Grady said. Otherwise, he said, it was a normal graduation other than Fallon's speech. That was cool. Pollock's brother, boyfriend, and cousins were to accept her diploma. Her brother, Hunter Pollock, aired his feelings on Twitter. "Today is the day my sister has been waiting for. Graduation where she would have been getting her diploma and be on her way to attend college. This is a sad day as I will be walking stage to get her diploma for her," he said. Her father, Andrew Pollock, said he was too emotionally spent to attend the ceremony. He has been an outspoken critic of school and law enforcement officials, saying they failed to protect his daughter and the others, but that's not why he's staying away. "Has nothing to do with them," Pollock told the Associated Press by phone Sunday. "I've just been dead inside since February 14th. Instead, he was headed to Central Florida, where this week he will address the armed guards one district has hired for its schools. April Shentrup, mother of Carmen Shentrup, posted a photo of her daughter wearing her graduation gown and cap, the Sun Sentinel reported. "For me, it is too painful to celebrate without Carmen," she said in an online post, "but I am proud of Carmen's friends and classmates on their accomplishments. They've overcome so much, I know they will continue to make positive changes." As families arrived for the ceremony, gunshots from nearby public shooting range could be heard echoing over the parking lot.
Study: many breast cancer patients can skip chemo. Most women with the most common form of early-stage breast cancer can safely skip chemotherapy without hurting their chances of beating the disease. Doctors are reporting from a landmark study that used genetic testing to gauge each patient's risk. The study is the largest ever done of breast cancer treatment, and the results are expected to spare up to 70,000 patients a year in the United States and many more elsewhere the ordeal and expense of these drugs. The impact is tremendous, said the study leader, Dr. Joseph Soprano of Medford Medical Center in New York. Most women in this situation don't need treatment beyond surgery and hormone therapy, he said. The study was funded by the National Cancer Institute, some foundations, and proceeds from the U.S. breast cancer postage stamp. Results were discussed Sunday at an American Society of Clinical Oncology conference in Chicago and published by the New England Journal of Medicine. Some study leaders consult for breast cancer drug makers or for the company that makes the gene test. Moving away from chemo. Cancer care has been evolving away from chemotherapy, older drugs with harsh side effects, in favor of gene-targeting therapies, hormone blockers, and immune system treatments. When chemo is used now, it's sometimes for shorter periods or longer doses than it once was. For example, another study at the conference found that Merck's immunotherapy drug Keytruda worked better than chemo as initial treatment for most people with most common type of lung cancer and with far fewer side effects. The breast cancer study focused on cases where chemo values increasingly is in doubt. Women with early stage disease that has not spread to lymph nodes is hormone positive, meaning this growth is fueled by estrogen or progesterone, and is not the type that the drug Herceptin targets. The study gave 10,273 patients a test called Oncotype DX, which uses a biopsy sample to measure the activity of genes involved in cell growth and response to hormone therapy to estimate the risk that a cancer will recur. What the study found: about 17% of the women had high-risk scores and were advised to have chemo. The 16% with low-risk scores now know they can skip chemo based on earlier results from this study. The new results are on the 67% of women at intermediate risk. All had surgery and hormone therapy, and half also got chemo. After 9 years, 94% of both groups were still alive, and about 84% were alive without signs of cancer. So adding chemo made no difference. Certain women 50 or younger did benefit from chemo. Slightly fewer cases of cancer spreading far beyond the breast occurred among some of them given chemo, depending on their risk scores on the gene test. Will people trust the results? All women like those in the study should get gene testing to guide their care. Dr. Richard Shilsky, Chief Medical Officer of the Oncology Society, Oncotype DX costs around $4,000, which Medicare and many insurers cover. Similar tests, including one called Mammoprint, also are widely used. Testing solved a big problem of figuring out who needs chemo, said Dr. Howell Burstein of the Dana-Farber Cancer Institute in Boston. Many women think if I don't get chemotherapy, I'm going to die. And if I get chemo, I'm going to be cured. But the results show there's a sliding scale of benefit and sometimes none, he said. Dr. Lisa Carey, a breast specialist at the University of North Carolina's Lineberger Comprehensive Cancer Center, said she would be very comfortable advising patients to skip chemo if they were like those in the study who did not benefit from it. Dr. Jennifer Litton at MD Anderson Cancer Center in Houston agreed, but said, risk to one person is not the same as risk to another. There are some people who say, I don't care what you say, I'm never going to do chemo, and won't even have the gene test, she said. Others want chemo, but even the smallest chance of benefit. Adine Usher, 78, who lives in Hartsdale, New York, joined the study 10 years ago at Montefiore and was randomly assigned to the group given chemo. I was a little relieved. I sort of viewed chemo as extra insurance, she said. The treatments were pleasant. She concedes. Her hair fell out. She developed an infection and was hospitalized for a low white blood count. But it was over fairly quickly, and I'm really glad I had it. If doctors had recommended she skip chemo based on the gene test, I would have accepted that, she said. I'm a firm believer in medical research.
Tonight on television, ABC WTVE Channel 11, WPDE Channel 15. From 8 to 10, The Bachelorette. Rapper Lil Jon helps plan a date. From 10 to 11, The Crossing. Tonight's episode, Hope Smiles from the Threshold. CBS WNCN Channel 17 and WBTW Channel 13 from 8 to 8:30, Mom. From 8:30 to 9, Man with a Plan. From 9 to 9:30, Superior Donuts. 9:30 to 10, Living Biblically. From 10 to 11, Elementary. A former gang member is murdered. Fox, WRAZ Channel 50, WGHP Channel 8, and WSFX Channel 26. From 8 to 9, So You Think You Can Dance, Auditions number 1, live. From 9 to 10, 911, Let Go. Abby reaches out to Buck. From 10 to 11, The News. NBC WRAL Channel 5, WECT Channel 6, and WMBF Channel 32. From 8 to 11, 2018 Stanley Cup Final. Vegas Golden Knights at Washington Capitals. Capitals host the Golden Knights in Game 4 of the 2018 Stanley Cup Final at Capital One Arena, live. PBS, WUNC Channel 4, WUNU, and WUNJ. From 8 to 10, Ken Burns, America's Storyteller, The War. And beginning at 10, Independent Lens, featuring black colleges and universities. A&E Channel 21. From 8 to 10, The Plot Against America, The Hunt for Enemy Sleepers. From 10 to 11, The Spy Who Raised Me. AMC Channel 41. From 7 to 9, a 2-star action film from 2008, Hancock, starring Will Smith. A scruffy superhero carelessly wreaks havoc in Los Angeles. From 9 to 11, Dietland, episodes 1 and 2, the series premiere, Plum makes risky choices. Discovery Channel, Channel 42, from 8 to 9, Street Outlaws, it's time to test the cars. From 9 to 10, Street Outlaws, the 405 agrees to a list shakeup. From 10 to 11, American Chopper, Senior confronts Junior. TVN Channel 68, from 8 to 9, Praise the Lord. 9 to 9:30, Sacred Slow. From 9:30 to 10, Jesse Duplantis. From 10 to 10:30, Graham. From 10:30 to 11, Greg Laurie, TV. TBS Channel 24, from 8 to 10, 4 back-to-back episodes of Family Guy. From 10 to 11, 2 back-to-back episodes of American Dad. Turner Classic Movies, Channel 54, from 8 to 9:13. Leslie Howard, The Man 2015 biography, the premiere. And from beginning at 9:45, a 4-star romance film from 1939, Gone with the Wind, starring Clark Gable and Vivian Leigh. Civil War rogue Rhett Butler loves Southern Belle, Scarlett O'Hara. The Learning Channel, Channel 23, from 8 to 11, 3 back-to-back episodes of Who Do You Think You Are? And that's what's on television tonight. And this concludes our reading of the Monday Fayetteville Observer, dated June 4th, 2018. Your radio hosts have been
Beverlyn Simonette
and Robert Bean. Continue to listen to the Southeastern North Carolina Radio Reading Service, a United Way partner agency, for more local and regional news. We've enjoyed being with you this morning. Thank you for tuning us in, and have a wonderful day.